It was not a natural disaster.
So the first thing is, for all of the fires, they haven't been able to determine what ignited the fires.
How fast did the danger escalate for you?
It was really fast. So we got a few things and we didn't want to get stuck in traffic. And so we got our children, our dog, and jumped in the car. And
traffic was just congested. Everyone was trying to leave. I mean, the fire had already crossed over past our house onto Front Street. And then you just seen buildings on fire on Front Street, cars just being engulfed in smoke. And I almost took the wrong turn. You know, I ended up going left, and everybody that was going in towards Lahaina instead of leaving Lahaina ended up getting stuck there. Buildings started falling apart. Behind us, the sky is just dark black. Like everything was just going up in flames. And, you know, a lot of people who should have been evacuating were just walking around, and we're like looking like, you should be leaving. And, you know, just
kind of felt like people were kind of giving up. They just weren't, you know, trying to get out. It was such a weird feeling. It was an eerie feeling.
Numbers for buildings, for money. What about the people? What about the families that have been destroyed by this fire? And for the record, I will say this. It was not a natural disaster. This emergency proclamation is a fall. Because all of the hearings you hear, all of the testimony you hear, all of the social media you hear, it connects the dots to what's happened in Lahaina. Lahaina was our first United Kingdom capital. Funny how all the common people were taken out in one fell swoop of a fire. Fire department, police department on Maui did nothing to get those people out. In fact, they blocked roads. And I can say that with a fact because the people in Lahaina testified to that. The sad thing that I have right now in my hand is this court document. You should not be having this meeting because it was filed. You should not be talking about Lahaina here as it was stated before. Where's the mayor of Maui? Even though this is a housing issue, that's the island he represents. I'm shaking right now. Because I look at this, and if some of you are here really fighting for the people, mahalo. Speak up. Don't be afraid of the rest of the people here. Speak up. Mahalo, tita. That's our people. And if this is just a money issue for you guys, get out of your seat. Please. Nani, you speak about talking to the people. Hold a meeting in Lahaina Civic Center or wherever they have room for, and hear the people, hear their stories, hear their heartbreak, hear their demise. You can turn that off because I'm not going to end until I end, and I'm not being disrespectful. You cannot limit the people's voice to 3 minutes. This is devastation. From the day that fire went on here in Honolulu and all the other islands, the people are the ones who got the donations to them. The water, the food, the clothing. Guess what? Coast Guard, FEMA trying to stop us from going in. While the people inside Lahaina is suffering. Yes, we found other ways to get them there. And I could go on and on with the people who showing themselves on social media. The celebrities, the president. Come on. He couldn't even pronounce names correctly. Why was he here? A photo op or truly for the people? Unfortunately, and I'm going to read this real quick, and this goes to the Housing Authority. Local authority housing or council housing is housing you can live in that is owned by the local authority. No, it should be owned by the people. You have to apply for local authority housing. Your council will assess your needs and decide if you are high priority. Every person in Maui is a high priority right now. There is tons of land in Maui. Why move them to the Big Island? Now you stress Big Island people. Now you take away from Big Island people. There are Maui people who came to Honolulu. I have a friend in here right now, Jessica, who housed Maui people. But yet we got no help. We got no help from the government. But that's how we do in Hawaii. We help. We take care. Correct. As Al said, malama. There's been lots of so-called celebrities saying that they're giving $100 million, all these millions of dollars. Where's the money? The money should not be going into Hawaii Community Foundation or any other foundation. That money should be going directly to the people. Do you know that with that $100 million, you can bring in lumber? And all the people who lost their homes, I guarantee you, majority of the men were construction workers. It's not about money. It's not about money laundering. It's not about taking money from one program to the other so that you guys can collect the money. The officials on Maui have not yet thought about the people. They are thinking about backtracking, backpedaling, name gaming. They're blaming each other. So people are getting fired. People are resigning because the top of the line, the top of the chain, refuse to take responsibility. This is not about, oh, we're going to make a memorial. I wish he was here because I would tell him to his face. Lahaina is not about making a memorial. I saw on so much social media that the banyan tree was more important than the people. It's a tree. Yes, it is something that's been there for decades. But guess what? In a couple more decades, another tree will be there for a couple decades. It's not about making a memorial for the people. You want to do a memorial? Help the people rebuild. Don't sit here in a round table and make decisions for the majority, because you are very much the minority.
Sometimes I just go in the corner and think about what the old Lahaina town used to look like, and I just start crying.
12-year-old Mackenzie Haya relives the day she ran from the flames in her dreams.
There was fires blocking us everywhere on the main highway, and all that black smoke, we couldn't see anything, and we were on the other side of the lane. So if there was a car coming really fast trying to get into Lahaina town, we would have gone to a car crash, and we wouldn't be able to get out because the fire was making a circle around us.
Mackenzie's mother, Adri, now grappling with how to explain the injustice of loss to Mackenzie and her 6 other children.
They ask, is this person okay? Is this person okay? And I think as the days go by and they release, because a lot of them were kids, we know them. They were a part of the community. We've seen them at parties, we've seen them all around town. Maybe my kids played sports with them. How, as a parent, are you ever prepared to tell your children that their friend didn't make it?
Authorities say a large portion of the deceased may be children. School was canceled the day of the fire because of the storm, and a little more than a quarter of Lahaina's population is under 18.
I'm worried, but I think everyone made it out. But I don't know yet.
We go through all these emotional waves, and our children should do the same. They should be able to feel the same and not just be strong, because we don't want to be strong. We want to grieve. We want to cry. We want to be upset. We want to feel worried. We want to feel whatever we need to feel to process that we just lost an entire town and we lost many people.
Hi, Steve here. Before I get started in this video, I just want to say to all of the people of Lahaina, my heart truly breaks because I know the kind of heartache and sorrow and grief that you're facing right now. Even as the cleanup begins and the news crews and cameras fade away, what's been done is beyond our comprehension. And the cause of the fire and the complete breakdown of any help and warning only raises more questions about what really happened in Lahaina. There are an avalanche of questions, and there seem to be very few legitimate answers as to what really happened to Lahaina. And why was it only Lahaina that burned to the ground? Why do the people have almost no warning of the certain end for most of them and their families? The heartache and the sorrow in this world is continuing to increase, just like the Lord Jesus Christ said it would. You are going to hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you're not alarmed, because these things must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise up against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these events are the beginning of labor pains. Many things are being perpetrated on mankind by evil men. Tragedies like this in Lahaina don't just happen. it's not an accident or happenstance. And if it's not, then what was the real cause of this incredibly vast expanse of tragedy? Deep, deep heartache and grief is what any normal friend or family member is feeling right now, deep in their soul. And we see many of these so-called leaders in positions who were supposed to protect the people and at least warn the people, who failed to do their job, and then they simply walked away after resigning their position. There's no point for me to speculate or give my opinion on what I think, but the Old Testament prophet Micah may give some insight. He said, both hands are good at accomplishing evil. The official and the judge demand a bribe. When the powerful man communicates his evil desire, they plot it together. The prophet Ezekiel said something that makes me wonder too. Her officials within her are like wolves tearing their prey, shedding blood and destroying lives in order to make profit dishonestly. I know that these prophecies were spoken to Israel, but like they used to say, if the shoe fits, wear it. Did you know that the Word of God says there are 6 things that God hates? The Lord hates 6 things. In fact, 7 are detestable to Him. Arrogant eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that plots wicked schemes, feet eager to run to evil, a lying witness who gives false testimony, and one who stirs up trouble among brothers. When men plot to do wicked things, they usually lie about what they've done too. Someday the truth will all come out. But for those friends and family members who survived this nightmare, their heartache and grief will take a long time to leave the deep emotional pain they're feeling right now. And if you live on Maui, do what you can to comfort your friends and surviving family members, like I know you probably are already. If you're like me and live thousands of miles away, you can pray and lift up these hurting souls before God and ask Him to comfort every one of them, including the children. This brings me to the one thing I've said before. We are all headed to eternity, and not one of us knows what day we will enter eternity. That's why you need to be sure you're going to be with God when you step into eternity. Go down in the description box below and click on that link. It'll take you to a page that will help lead you in a simple prayer to ask Jesus Christ to be the Lord of your life. Don't wait. Don't put it off another day. Do it today. Think about it.